Yo, 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 this is the Antisocial Socialite back at it again. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are new to the channel or you haven't subscribed, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, smack that notification bell so every time I'm running my MOUF, that is MOUF in this BITCH, you are in the loop, baby. You see the title, you know what time it is. Oh my gosh, did I just say that? It's time we start having contraceptive parties. Yes, ladies, it is that conversation. So let me jump on the couch because I need to tell you where it all began, Doctor. It was the year 2007. Actually, I don't know if it was the year 2007, but it was a long ass time ago. I flipped on my TV and all of a sudden I was watching these wealthy white women running around in Orange County. And from that hit, that first sniff, that first taste of Real Housewives drugs, I was hooked. Every flavor, every color, every location, I was getting that fix of Real Housewives. But then one day, one of these housewives, she got a divorce. And instead of crying and grieving the loss of her marriage, she was throwing a divorce party. And I was like, you took a vow till death. You split your assets. You've got to find new homes to live in. The kids are crying. You've probably taken the man to the cleaners. Even though maybe it wasn't your money, he's going to be paying some hefty alimony. And you're whooping it up with the girls, celebrating the fact that you got divorced. And we have a lot of parties. We have birthday parties. We have engagement parties. We have baby showers. Heck, back in the day, we used to have Tupperware parties. And you know how a black woman is about her plastic. Damn. Bring back my container. How many times have we heard that? Anything beginning with plastic, plastic bag, plastic container, a black woman is going to kill you for that. And that got me thinking. I know in America it's a massive problem. 70% of children are born out of wedlock. Obviously, we don't know what percentage of those children are born to cohabiting couples. But, I'm a pro-marriage person. Maybe I'll do a video on why I'm pro-marriage. And no, it's not because of the big dress and the cake. Okay? But we know there's a significant problem with baby mama problem, baby daddy drama, STDs, and black women have the highest rate when it comes to children with different fathers. Okay. Here in the UK, I mean, it's not necessarily much better. I mean, you have white people who do the same thing, but, I do see a lot of young girls pushing prams, like almost like the pram brigade. 2, 3, 4, they've all got some kids round them. And I'm not saying that's the majority, but it's definitely in a city lower class problem. And it got me thinking, black men, at least in America, have the highest rate of condom usage. They are officially the best when it comes to protecting themselves. Something that a lot of black women always like to throw at black men. Well, if he didn't want a baby, why didn't he wear a condom? But the reality is, women have tens of forms of birth control. Some say it's 20, it's 20 something. Some say it's up to 30. I don't know. I don't even know. Okay. I don't know how many types of contraception there are for women, but there's enough. I was on the gram, baby. I was on the gram. And I came across a post that talked about how they believe contraception is linked to fibroids. And I was like, there's two black doctors talking about how contraception is related to fibroids and how more needs to be done to raise this awareness. And I thought, are these guys taking the piss? Black women have some of the lowest rates of contraceptive usage, which is why the single mother rate, the out of wedlock pregnancy rate, the STD rate, and the multiple baby daddy rate is so damn high. The fibroids have absolutely nothing to do with contraception because black women are not using contraception like that. One time I watched this YouTube video and it was like a prank video. The daughter's like 14, and this is not something that I'm endorsing because I'm not necessarily a pro-choicer like per se. And she filmed herself in the car saying, I'm going to start a new YouTube channel, mom, and it's going to be like 14 and pregnant. And the mother's like, what are you talking about? Like, well, who's going to do that? It's like, and then she looks around and she's like, look, what are you trying to say? And she's like, well, you're not pregnant. And she's like, I need to tell you something. I'm pregnant. And the mother immediately was like, what are you talking about? Well, who's the father? Da, 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 da. And then she's like, well, if you're really pregnant, we're taking a trip to the hospital. Now, I'm not saying be pro-abortion, right? Because that's serious. But what that tells me is the mother has enough foresight to tell her daughter, you need to protect your future by not making a mistake with your womb now. Now, obviously, the daughter's not pregnant. She's just messing and she's just winding the mum up, which, if she'd had a heart attack and crashed the car while they were driving, it would have been all your fault. But black women, and, I know I was joking, talking all that shit earlier about my guilty pleasure, but this is a serious topic. In the black community, young girls are being over sexualized so early. And a lot of them have no validation at home. Because so many of them are growing up in households without fathers, they're looking for that male attention and that male validation. And they're using their sex, their sexuality, their sex appeal to get what they think is love. Obviously, it's not real love. The guys are just using them for sex. And they feel like because they're getting sex and attention, that's the same as genuine love. When they have a man in the home, a father who's going to build them up, and give them self-esteem and non-sexual attention, they know the difference between a man who's only after them for their body versus a man who actually wants them for who they are as a person. Their esteem is not going to be so low that they're going to put themselves in situations where they can be victimized, because they know what it's like to get that validation from a man without the man demanding sex in return. But this white mother, she's making it very clear. You have a future to live for. So you have to protect your womb and secure your options now. So if you're telling me you're pregnant, which I'm not encouraging anybody to say, go and tell your 14-year-old who's pregnant, go and have an abortion. But what I am saying is this: prevention is better than cure. And a lot of the problems in the black community are to do with these broken families. A ton of young people being churned out of dysfunctional single parent households. Yes, I'm going to go there. You can say, oh, you're bashing single mothers. The man, he walk away. And also, I could have aborted you. But you shout at the parent who keep you. And you don't say anything about the one that walk away. At the end of the day, the man that got you pregnant is the man that you chose. Unless you were raped or something, which I'm not even trying to just be flippant or blasé about it, because that's serious. If you were raped and you fell pregnant, you really felt like, I don't believe in abortion, I would rather have this baby and raise the baby and love this child, because it's not the child's fault how they came into the world. More power to you, respect to you for that, definitely. But we all know 9 times out of 10, You know, it's not that kind of situation. It's, I fancied you, I liked you, I wanted to sleep with you, and then ta-da, there's a baby. How many of these pregnancies that are coming up in the black community are actually planned? And this is why the abuse, the neglect is so high. Because if you're planning to have a child, you already have a plan for that child. You already sit down and dream and think about what school, what clothes, what job, what they could be, what they'll look like. The anticipation that comes with wanting the child is going to naturally lead you to have dreams and aspirations for that child. But when you have an unplanned pregnancy, it's like it's like inheriting a business or something and being told we'll run it. Like, you never even had a desire to run the damn business, and all of a sudden it drops in your lap. Like, we've heard these stories. Somebody inherits an estate, they inherit a house or whatever, and it's like the job is bigger than them because they never even imagined or desired to have it in the first place. The same, and you know, and this is not me being like, this is not me trying to sit on a high horse or anything, but the same mindset that caused that unplanned pregnancy is the way you're going to go these into this role called parenting. That's why you have all these girls running the streets, because their mothers are at home still trying to get back the years they lost because they had a child when they weren't really planning to. And although we know that the biggest demographic of single mothers is actually women over 30, that also tells you something. All these women that couldn't get it right in their teens and 20s are now saying, you know what, I just want to have a kid because at least that child will love me and come back. And even if there's no man, at least I have this child that I can focus all my attention on and then kind of emotionally blackmail later to come back and take care of me because I haven't got a man to do it. Yeah, we're going there. We are going there. You know, I'm not saying that children shouldn't help their parents, but children don't ask to be born. When you bring them into these dysfunctional situations, as I've said before, you just literally put them behind the eight ball. They're scrambling to try and be normal. They're struggling to compete because they grow up in a disadvantaged situation. What they are formatted to perceive as normal, what they are trained to have expectations of, that is going to impact the whole of their life. It's going to take much for them to rewire their thinking to get out of a lack mindset or a poverty mindset or you know, a make-do mindset. You grow up in a household where everything is, we can't because there's no money. We can't because there's no money. They're going to have a poverty mindset instead of an abundance mindset. If you're growing up in poverty, chances are your own parents can't even teach you about financial literacy because they themselves would have money if they were financially literate. So they can't give you what they don't have, which means instead of them passing down things to you because they were preparing for you in the first place, they have nothing to impart to you. They have nothing to pass down to you. And now you've got to scramble from ground zero to build yourself up. And not only build yourself up, the same parents who didn't even plan for you are now expecting you to turn back and assist them. So this is a crazy situation, and this is why the black community is in the state that it's in, because we have way too many people conceiving children that they didn't plan for, have nothing to give them, nothing to leave them. Scripture says a wise man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. But how many of us right now, if we had a child, could say we've got something put by for a child? plan for that child's life. So it's full time black women stop using excuses like contraception causes fibroids, it messes with my hormones. I'm not saying that you should go and use contraception and put your physical health at risk, but there's so many forms of contraception out there that why you must be able to find one that works for you. And if you know damn well none of those ones that you have to put in your body work for you, just make sure that you have a lifetime subscription with Durex. Okay, just have them deliver like 100 condoms so that you don't have to be a baby mama. Because when these women get on social media talking about I'm the mother, I'm the father, oh the father's a deadbeat, da 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 da, that's the man you chose. You wanted that baby, you wanted that sex, so why are you complaining now? Because it wasn't as glamorous and as easy as they make it look on TV? Because your mother, who was a single mother, didn't tell you that it was really hard? It's not easy to juggle a job and pay bills and be there for your child? Shout out to all the guys in the manosphere. The first decision you make as a good mother is picking a decent father for your kids. You know, and I will encourage, because that's even a video I'm going to do about abstinence. Way too much emphasis in the black community on sex. Way too much value is placed on sex. But okay, if you have to be sexually active, at least avoid pregnancy. So that if you do, turn your life around, you get off riding the cock carousel and you decide, I'm going to be a good woman and settle down now, at least you're not coming into the relationship with baggage from previous relationships. Because children that belong to another man is baggage for your new man, unless he has kids. If you have kids and he has kids, then that's fine. And I know a lot of women, they have children. They want to find a partner who's childless because they want to start again. But a man who has no children cannot really empathize with a woman who has kids, because he doesn't understand things like, I always have to seek a babysitter, or I need to, I don't know, make arrangements for the child. I don't know. And then you've got the issues with baby daddy drama. Is he coming around? Is he fighting the new man? Is he teaching the children to disrespect the new man? Do the children respect the new man? That's another video. Why black men really have a problem with single mothers. And no, it's not because they're weak and insecure. Every so often there's a new shaming tactic coming through. Now it's you must be insecure. You see, one of the things that's irritating about this contraceptive argument is this. If you talk to a black woman, this is one of the things that actually sparked this video. Oh, the black womb, it brings forth life. Only a woman can bring forth life. When we want to be praised because we have a vagina and a womb, it's the woman is so fantastic and wonderful. Make an unplanned pregnancy come along to a deadbeat, and all of a sudden it takes two to make a baby, though. It takes two. It takes two. If he didn't want to pray a baby, if he didn't want to get me pregnant, he should have wore a condom. The question is, whose womb is it? Is it his womb or yours? Is it his womb or yours? Oh wait, he doesn't have a womb. So it's yours by default. Take the fact that you want to hold the man responsible, for something that you were complicit in. Let me pick my words carefully. Because this whole he got me pregnant argument in the black community is something that needs to stop. Because what you're saying is, I'm not responsible for my own actions. You wanted to have sex, or you want to have sex, or you're thinking about having sex. That means you are a willing participant in that act. So you have a responsibility to protect yourself. This is not about telling the man to wear a condom to protect the man. This is about you making sure you are protected. He could have a disease. You don't know. And even if you can say it takes two, the baby is still growing in your body. 80% of single parent households are single mother households. So if that man decides to say, look, I don't want to be a father to this child. So you have, two options: get rid of it or have it and do something with it. Give it away, raise it, I don't care. But definitely, if that man decides to walk away, you will be left literally holding the baby. Now, if you're pregnant and you're watching this, have your baby, have your baby. It's too late now. But for the women who are listening to this, who are like, I don't want to use contraception because of da 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 da, go and speak to your doctor and find a type of contraception that works for you. This is part of, I hear a lot of people talking a lot of shit about sisterhood, but these are the kind of issues that a real sister would sit a sister down and talk about. I told you I can't pronounce my S's, so don't laugh because I'm hissing. These are the kind of things that a real good sister sits her sisters down and educates her on. Things that actually matter. Valentine's Day is coming up. I don't really celebrate Valentine's Day, but everybody's talking all this crap about love when really it's just lust. It's lust. It's not love in the air. So now is the time to start sitting young girls down and saying, look, I know your body's changing. You're getting male interest. We need to talk about, at least if you're going to be sexually active, protecting yourself. Not just because you're protecting yourself from disease, not just because you're protecting yourself from unplanned pregnancy, but because an unplanned pregnancy is going to have long-standing ramifications for your future. Because contrary to the memes, a high value man does not want to invest in another man's legacy. If the man who got you pregnant does not want to stay to take care of his own child, why is the next man necessarily going to want to do that? This whole we are a package deal and you're a real man and stepdaddies are the best and da 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 da. The stepdaddy game is over. Okay, a lot of men are not interested in being stepfathers because women have been so ungrateful and they've allowed their children to be so disrespectful. There's no reward and no incentive to being a stepfather. Yeah, we're going to go there. We're going there. It's time black women stop having parties for lingerie and adult slumber parties and, going to this and going to that. Let's start talking about stuff that actually makes a difference, because a lot of the problems in the black community are to do with the fact that we have such dysfunctional families, and the family is founded upon what the woman is doing. Because the woman knows, even if I have a child without the man, I can get assistance in other places. So instead of having healthy, functioning families where people have gone the right route, which is, and if you're in America, route, which is, I'm going to preserve my chastity. And this is not me getting up on a high horse. I'm going to court a guy, we're going to get married, and then we're going to have a family. That's how you have a stable, functioning community. It's founded upon stable families. But the women are being so empowered to think that it's a great thing to be the mother and the father, and they're not really doing a good job at either. So if you really want to be part of the sisterhood, it's time to get the girls around and talk about what contraception you lot are all going to get on. If you guys need to go and have 100 friggin' dicks, at least don't bring home no damn baby. Because these are the same women saying, oh, are you always bashing single mothers? No, 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 single mothers. We're doing the best. But unfortunately, sometimes the best is not good enough, because the child that comes forth out of these relationships, they are not, they're set up to be broken. And before you know it, they're coming home pregnant at, 15 as well. They're getting picked up by the police. They're failing at school. They had all the potential, but because you couldn't invest in it, because you didn't plan for this child, now the child is falling behind. Instead of rising to the top, they can barely make ends meet. Standing on street corners, getting into trouble, being a nuisance at school. It all contributes to the dysfunction of the overall black community. What women do with their wombs has long, far-reaching repercussions for the black community, because black women are giving birth to sons who haven't got what it takes to be fathers. They're giving birth to girls who they don't raise to be wives. It's not the men. It's the women. So if you love your girls, if you care about the black community, it's time to stop having all these frivolous, useless parties that mean nothing and go nowhere, celebrating all these holidays where people just go into excess. It's time to start having parties about the things that really matter. Real housewives parties. What it takes to be a wife. Because I know a lot of black women, they never had anyone demonstrating to them what it is to be a good wife at home. Contraceptive parties, feminine hygiene parties, domestic goddess parties. Like, people always say, this ain't the 1950s. Well, you know what? In 1950s, women had husbands in their homes. Their children had all the same last name. The streets were safer. Men knew their role. You're always crying for protection. In those communities, men were protecting each other's families and wives. So when a woman says to you, this ain't the 1950s, not everything about the 1950s was bad. So with that being said, I hope you liked the video. Give it a big thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, give it a big thumbs down. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Like, share, subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.